I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Ryan Lynch here reporting from Oops News. Over at Newark Airport, we still have many delays, so we're going to send things out to our sideline reporter in Terminal B with an update. Giulio Ryan, tell us about the chaos going on with the cancellations. Giulio? Oh no, it seems that our connection with them is lined up with
hey Ryan, good to see you. We're here at Newark. The air traffic controller has advised the other customers of airlines not to fly into Newark due to the lack of safety. We're hoping for updates sometime soon, but that's what we got for you. Back to you at the desk.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to a new study discovering that Blue Chews actually cause... Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Ryan Lynch with Giulio Ryan. He's back from Newark Airport.
I'm back. Blue Chews cause... Back to Oops the podcast. Anyways.
I was like, anything I say could be mean.
Dude, we flew into Newark when we were coming back from that wedding, and I guess we were sort of at the beginning of the problems that they're having, just like not getting cleared to land and shit. For the pilot who was just crying wolf about things that didn't end up happening. Might have to land in Baltimore. We'll keep you, but hey, folks from the flight deck, shut the fuck up. Dude, I witnessed one of the craziest things the other day. So I'm walking down the street, whatever. I witnessed a car smash a biker. Smash the biker. Windshield shattered. Biker flies up in the air, lands, and all of a sudden everybody's helping out. And one guy's like, make sure that guy doesn't drive away. They're like, park right there, make sure. And this guy who did it wasn't planning on driving away. He like pulled over, and it was like a modest car. This guy maybe looks like, he looked like a modest guy. Okay. And it was crazy to watch him think about what had just happened.
How you were right there.
I was right there. So I see the girl, and she seems hopefully fine. I mean, you never know with that kind of shit. You can really hit your head, and like it's onsets later, like brain bleeding.
Or internal,
whatever.
yeah.
Totally. So she was shaken up, but like seemed like she was going to be okay. Unclear specifically. So they're like, lay down, don't move, whatever. Everybody turns into a paramedic suddenly. And I'm watching the guy who did it. And at this point, I'm like, all right, I'm leaving. Like, I don't need to stick around for this. I got shit to do. Hopefully everybody will be fine. And dude, the guy's sitting there just being like, is this really like, he's shaking his head. And somebody DM'd me. They're like, please explain what you're doing if you're not going to talk about it, since we can't see you if we're not watching on YouTube. You should watch on YouTube, but I will do it anyway. But dude, head in his hand, shaking his head. He was like, I cannot believe that just happened. Windshield completely shattered. What happens in that situation? What if it wasn't his fault? What if it was his fault? Like what happens? What if that girl ends up dying, but it wasn't his fault? Does just nothing happen? Does he get to claim insurance to get his windshield fixed for free if he wasn't at fault? Say she ran through a light and he didn't or something?
I don't know. All I know is that whatever he had going on, that's on pause.
You're damn right.
And that's, everyone's dealing with their shit. Everyone's got busy days, and no one has time to do that by accident, or if it accidentally happened to him, he has to deal with that now. Everything's canceled.
Yeah, I couldn't help but feel bad for the guy. And I heard, but I didn't watch it happen. So if that guy did what he was supposed to do and that still happened, like if that guy was just completely following the traffic rules and that person on the bike was supposed to yield but didn't, I feel bad for the guy. And I just felt bad for him. I'm looking at him like, fuck. I mean, she was I don't know. I don't know who was, I don't know. I'm just so curious.
What was her vibe?
She was just sort of like disoriented, but she may have, again, if she was the person who was at fault, there's a chance that she is just a disoriented person in general, and that therefore she wasn't behaving too differently from what she normally behaves like. But she was definitely a little like, whoa, like, not like, where am I, but like, okay, like, I think, like, not really talking much, just kind of like,
She was plotting?
She seemed young, so I don't know. I don't know if she's able to. I mean, people in New York are like street rats. Like we get sort of like cunning young here, so maybe she has it already. But it was an age where it didn't seem like she was doing it on purpose. She definitely didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah.
Someone did the wrong thing. Someone didn't stop at a stop sign. Someone, you know what I mean? I just don't know who was who in this situation.
Yeah. If I was in the wrong and I was behind the wheel, I don't know if I would have reacted any harder than he had, because it seems like by default, people would assume that he is the one that's in the wrong because he's behind a motor vehicle.
Totally.
And I'm trying to, without seeing or even hearing it live, I'm trying to put myself in his shoes. Would I, if it was not my fault, given all the eyeballs on me after the fact, would I be like, that wasn't my fault?
Totally. I was just thinking that. It wasn't me. I mean, she shouldn't have, but you don't want to say that when this person's laying on the ground. But to your point, like, it is the optics are bad for you when you were the one in the car.
No matter what.
She wasn't wearing a helmet.
Did she look like a crusty person?
No.
Okay.
No. But not wearing the helmet is not helpful optically. Again, now there was people who saw what happened. So great. It's New York. And there's cameras everywhere. So like, someone caught it on tape, right? So that's fine. But if no one had, you know, I guess you can't prove anything in that situation. But like when you look at a person who doesn't have a helmet on, you can't help but think that person's also more likely to blow through a stop sign.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You start kind of like, you start making assumptions about people. So it's kind of all pretty yucky. And dude, like bikers are pretty fucking annoying. And I know you bike. Hopefully you're not one of the annoying ones. I occasionally do too. But like McGinnis Boulevard, which is close to me, it's a very busy street in Brooklyn. It kind of gets you from Queens deep down in Brooklyn, and it is always packed. 9 months ago, it was a 2-lane street on each side. They've changed it and made it into a 1-lane to add like a giant bike lane. And it is like the craziest fucking thing in the world, in my opinion. Like, you were already never going to get to cross as a pedestrian for the most part, like until the very end, and it's a long light. And now there is just never a scenario where you can cross. Mm-hmm. And the traffic is insane. And it's like, there's plenty of places for bikes, dude. Bikers are like really, they advocate for themselves in a way where it's like over the top. Like, how many times have you seen a biker be like, hey, smack the end of a car? Like they need, maybe they're big because they have to be, you know what I mean? But I just find them fucking annoying.
Yeah. There isn't a lot of enforcement of road laws to bikers.
Totally.
Yeah.
People going the wrong way all the time. And like, I look both ways for bikers, even with one ways.
Yeah. Because
there'll be some guy zipping along in a motorized bike going the wrong fucking way. And like that, you can die, bro.
Yeah. And then an accident happens, and who's at fault?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the guy going the wrong way.
I know, 100%. Hopefully, but no one's going to feel bad for you, the person that stepped in front of him when he's going the wrong way, when he's on the ground bleeding or hurt. Totally. Just like the person on the bicycle. Like, you don't know if she did anything wrong.
Wouldn't surprise me, dude, if, speaking of which, the guy, he was turning onto a one-way, maybe she was coming the wrong direction. And maybe he only looked to the right, which makes sense to do, and then turn left, and there's this idiot biker.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Drive slow, everybody. I think at the end of the day, if you're on a vehicle, any sort of vehicle, drive slow, especially on a motorcycle.
I'll check Reddit and see if there's any updates there. There always are. Hit and run by a gray Honda Odyssey on North 4th? No.
Wasn't a hit and run.
I just witnessed a little boy get hit by a van on South 4th.
Jesus
that was
Christ.
7 months ago. It's fine.
Tough.
Scaffolding collapse. Oh, wait,
That's scary.
That is scary. Nope, I don't see anything.
Cool, no problem.
So you're a liar.
Somebody emailed us saying, asking an interesting New York City question. Shout out to Mitch. Hey, Oops Pod. I'm currently watching the Met Gala with my wife, and I'm wondering what events do the locals hate the most in New York? There's an obvious answer to me for this. I'll finish the email. The city's already so busy and crowded. Do you even notice when there's a large event going on? I would think that the NYC Marathon makes things more complicated with road closures. Would love to know what the locals really think of all the events that happen in the greatest city in the world. As always, love the pod. Can't wait for the Bhutan video. Thank you, Mitch.
Sunday events are on the top of my list.
I think that's I think in the Family Feud, that's a popular answer, especially because if you are driving, it really makes your life difficult.
Yeah, Pride Day always ends up being a big it always foils my plans. All about Pride.
Marathon falls into that. So any Puerto Rican Day Parade, Pride Parade, the marathon, any event on a Sunday, like they have tons of them. It's not like every Sunday, but Fifth Avenue will be shut down. And obviously for the marathon, more roads are shut down. So like in that situation, you can't get across town in a car, which makes all the other roads way more congested. So to his point, do you even notice because it's such a big city? The answer is typically yes, especially in Manhattan. Manhattan especially is where it will screw you.
Yeah. There was a time, wasn't the end of the world, but I had a big family barbecue in Jersey. And this is when we had a car, and my car was parked on Kent, which is one of the last streets to the water. And
In Brooklyn.
And there was a bicycle marathon triathlon race, some specific. So I don't know what it was. I didn't know about it until I got to Kent to cross the street to get my car. And I had to ask an officer because the whole street was gated off. Like, hey, how do I get my car out? And he's like, you don't. Oof. And so then I just didn't go see my grandpa. So that sucked. Jesus. That happens. The Sunday's always getting to the airport on a Sunday or coming home from the airport. You gotta take a look. That's something that sucks. Yeah. And then also being in Manhattan during Fashion Week, that has been a nuisance in the past. Just people and that entire week, because people are crowding up, taking photos or waiting outside to go into certain bars, and they take up the entire sidewalk on busy streets, and you have to funnel through like you're in a packed college bar, and that's just not fun when you're just living your Tuesday night.
100%.
What other ones
another
stick out?
Traditional one that is maybe a little less applicable these days, since like Midtown and Uptown are a little less part of New York City life than maybe they used to be. But the UN General Assembly.
Oh my God, yes.
That's a bad one. And everybody, that's like a joke that like the week of that, you should try to be out of town. Because like, good luck going anywhere. It's such a pain. Everything's constantly closed. Even walking. In that situation, walking is a pain. They won't let you cross the street. And where I used to live around there, and yeah, if the president's coming down the street at some point, you just got to fucking wait for that knucklehead and sit there and look at the traffic. And like, you're also collectively as a group paying for this security.
Yeah.
You're just paying to be inconvenienced. And obviously, I would still argue America's a pretty high functioning democracy, especially with the scale of it. People are always like, well, in Norway, okay, fine. Norway has a completely homogenous population and a small homogenous population. This is a very densely populated, complicated place with a bunch of different people and a bunch of different places and a massive piece of land. I think that we are the best governed country of that size on earth. And I would argue it's hard to argue. A close second. So anyway, having said all that, you still can't help but stand there and be like, I'm fucking paying for this bullshit. I'm making myself late. Who thought of this shit? You see these knucklehead cops thinking they're hot shit. You just want to, dude.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, you can't. Dude, you see people start freaking out. So he's like, I need to make it to my flight. My flight. He's like, is she crazy? Is she lying? Is she panicking? I'm like, what? I think the latter. This woman has a flight.
Right. Yeah, that sucks. I remember heading home from recording at your old place to go meet my friend to go see a movie, and Biden was in town, and I think it was the assembly. And I remember I called him. I was like, we got to go see a movie in 2 hours instead of the one we were gonna see. Like I'm landlocked. Landlocked. There's nothing you can do about it.
It took so long. Biden might as well have been walking across the island of Manhattan. 80-year-old Biden, because it's just taking his... he might as well have been walking from First Ave to the West Side Highway.
Oh, forever.
Dude, forever. Get out of here, bro.
That one, the U.S. Open is also not good for travel.
Big time. And look, if you're doing like Hamptons weekend, whatever, like if it's the week of the US Open. So Long Island, for anybody who isn't from New York, like if you're going to go to the Hamptons, right? That is the end of Long Island. Long Island is a narrow peninsula. Yeah, it's a peninsula that just kind of shoots off of the side of Queens and then goes out sort of toward the Atlantic Ocean. So the Hamptons is the very end of it. It is narrow, and inevitably during popular times of year or in general, there tends to be a lot of traffic, and the drive isn't that pretty till you get to the end of it. It's a tough 100-mile drive to get from the city to East Hampton.
Long Island is not a peninsula.
It's not?
It's just an island.
Interesting. Because Manhattan is an island. But Manhattan is its own island. But yeah, Brooklyn and Queens are on an island. Fuck. That's crazy, Lynch. Okay, anyway, so Long Island, the end of this, it's a long whatever.
Island,
technically a long island. And so driving out there is tough. So then obviously Friday evening and Sunday evening are going to be the busy times in the summer because obviously everybody works their ass off in New York. So like, this is when people are all driving out. So everybody's constantly trying to figure out ways to beat the traffic. There's the back roads. So you gotta take the back roads. You gotta leave in the morning if you can. Like, God bless, if you're not working, God bless you. And then Sunday, it's like, oh, well, you might not, if you're gonna leave at 5 p.m., you might as well leave at 10 p.m. because it'll take you the same amount of time, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, add the US Open into that mix, which is in Queens and like on the way back, and you're in a tough situation.
Mm-hmm.
And a Mets tennis tournament
and a Mets day game.
Yeah, dude. Mets doubleheader, US Open, middle of the summer. Good luck, dude. You better. That's a situation where people are like, is the train actually, like, you should take the train to the US Open.
Yep.
For anybody who doesn't know, the by far easiest way to get to and from the US Open is taking the train. Parking's a nightmare. Ubering's a complete fucking nightmare. Because with Uber, it's like you give it an address. You have to there's a specific point where you need to go, and it's a nightmare.
Yeah, and you will spend more money on your ticket.
What do you mean?
To Uber.
Oh, meaning like the total cost of going.
Yeah. Those things. It's those Sunday events.
Yeah.
I think it's really that. Yeah. Was there any other thing about it?
No, that was it. But to me, I feel like we did a good job covering it.
Yeah. I gotta tell you something. You'd be really proud of me. Please. Traveled to Nashville with my golf bag and a suitcase and my backpack and my carry-on and my crossbody, and I took the subway all the way through.
Good job.
And all the way back.
Good
I could
job,
not,
dude.
just like the video that you posted the other day, I could not justify, even if I was making so much more money than I am now, I can't justify spending, just like you did, more money on the Uber than the flight. And so I am, squabbled up in the subway with all my shit. My bag's rolling. It's like having kids. You can't keep track of all these bags. It doesn't matter. You got to take the subway and then the air train. You're talking about...
It was Terminal 5, right?
Yeah. You're talking about, I think, $12, a little over $12 versus $140 to $160 each.
Yeah, dude.
Way. You have to do it. You have to do it.
I agree. I agree with that. And yeah, I had my flight on Thursday. It wasn't too early. I was at JFK too, which, by the way, this was stupid of me. I've never been to Dulles, which is like the other DC airport. It's like in Virginia. It's not close. It's like DCA, which is the one that most people take, is right there.
It's like Arlington?
I think it's even farther.
Oh,
it's
wow.
like farther in proximity to the DC area than Arlington. It's like 26 miles or something. But I was like, oh, I've never been to that airport. I should do it. Like me being OCD and inconveniencing myself. But anyway, so I was flying out of JFK, and yeah, dude, the JFK Uber is just so expensive. LaGuardia Uber is a little more tolerable.
Mm-hmm. We're right there.
I have a trick. Do you do the LaGuardia trick? Okay.
I'd love to hear it.
This is the LaGuardia trick. So on the way home, at least. On the way there, it's a little tougher because LaGuardia is then $35, $40 from here. If you do a share, maybe it's $30. I tend to opt for that. If it's less than $40, I strongly consider the Uber, even though it's still annoying. But to get back from LaGuardia, the move is the following. You take the bus for free to Roosevelt Avenue. It's the only stop. And you get off there and the Uber will be less than $20.
Really? That's good to know.
It comes right up to the curb. It's just like getting on that bus is pretty much just as easy as like navigating the Uber situation. And that Uber back from LaGuardia can be a lot because a lot of people are calling them, you know.
Yeah, the surge.
50, $60. Fuck that. $17.50, dude.
That's great. Yeah, dude, I've learned, you know, the value of $1 while living here, and just like how easy it is. It like the convenience factor of your dollar. Like you could just easily spend so much more money for the
All
sake
the
of just
time.
a little bit of convenience. And if you just put a little bit of effort in and you just grit your teeth a little bit, you become a real New Yorker.
Totally.
You can save a lot of money, and that goes a long way while you live here.
Totally. And dude, it's funny.
It's a
There's
nice lesson to learn.
100%. And there's all these like alpha male pages because I feel that way too. And then sometimes I start to wonder, I'm like, am I going overboard with my attempts to not spend so much money? I'm like sort of not good with money in general. Like I constantly want to do stuff. Like I managed to just like live a fairly expensive life, even for a guy who like doesn't have that much stuff. I don't buy stuff. I don't buy clothes that often. I don't buy shit. So I'm like, how do I constantly spend so much money? It's just I'm always doing stuff, whatever. But I get to the point where I'm like, should I be spending more of my time? And now this is like a cliche alpha male page thing to do. But like, should I be spending more of my time trying to make money and not thinking about saving money? And I'm like, I don't know. There has to be a balance, right? 'Cause
Don't question
I
it.
agree with you. Like it's so easy to take the convenient route here when like, if you thought about it for 5 minutes, you could do it for 1/10 of the price. Why not do that?
As long as you keep being conscious and just know that you're making positive fiscal decisions every week, that compounds. So you don't need to do more or less. Like you feel good about a financial decision that you're making, that's going to compound just like an investment.
Totally, man. And yeah, like I'm spending most of my money making these videos at this point, which I'm fine with, especially like you said, hopefully an investment. Hopefully it'll turn into what I think it's going to, and it'll like pop off and all that shit. But it can be hard to think about saving money when you're just bleeding money. But I encourage you to still think about it, because just because you're bleeding money doesn't mean that you should just throw fuel on the fire. Each moment where bleeding is occurring should be looked at as an isolated moment. And the same discipline and concern and value for the dollar needs to reset before every financial transaction.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree. It's been, this has been a fiscally overwhelming period in my life with bachelor parties, which always end up being more money than you forecast them to be when you get the initial budget, and wedding and honeymoon, and all of that coming at the same time. Very quickly this year, $500 has become the new $5. Just all these, and it is like, it's so overwhelming that it's numbing. I feel like, you feel like you're spending a lot of money, and it's kind of like, I was talking to my friend whose wedding is in a little over a month. The way that we're spending money right now, it feels like you paid to send your wife and your 3 kids to a super expensive resort. And it's a lot of money, but it's going to be great. And you get to the resort and you get a phone call from your neighbor saying, hey, your basement is being flooded and the entire foundation of your home needs to be replaced right now. What's your credit card number?
Dude.
And it's that's what it feels like right now. And you know, you're on vacation, you're just like, boom. And then you get another, a kid breaks his neck on the diving board
on the
vacation,
windshield of your car.
on the windshield of your car, and it might have been it probably was his fault.
But it doesn't
probably
look good.
was your kid's fault. He wasn't wearing a helmet on the dive. Yeah.
Going the wrong way.
So that's what it feels like right now, and it's isolated, but just these invoices, and we're like, we have to pay them right now, and it's just that's why like it's no questions asked. Like I'm taking public transport to the airport.
Solid.
To save $80.
Makes a big difference.
And like even if the math isn't mathing, it's a fiscally smart decision, and I feel good about that habit.
Compounding.
And that's going to compound when we're out of this little hole
100%.
and we're moving on in life, and we continue to make those decisions. Like you don't need to think, oh, should I be making more money right now? Should I worry? Just keep doing those decisions, and you'll be happy with the results. I feel good about that with what we're doing. Control what you can. You can control getting to the airport fiscally.
Yeah, and this dude, the honeymoon thing too is interesting. Like the way that they set it up, a lot of the time, you have covered almost the entire expense before you step foot on the plane to go on it, which is a nice part of it. And especially I think with the safari model, because a lot of it is like you're glamping for a lot of it, right? I've never done it, but, and I'm not going to be. Even this summer, I won't be. Just FYI.
We got ads to record, bro.
If you guys listen to the last couple episodes, you'll know.
Word hasn't gotten back to her yet.
Oh, hilarious. Hopefully it does not. Not that it's not going to matter.
It is so,
it's
such a nothingism.
But I have heard, and you will hopefully be able to confirm this, and I look forward to hearing all about it. But yeah, they set up these like glamping situations that are like hotel rooms basically. And you're not like in a city going out to dinner. Like everything is like completely taken care of. And yeah, man, it seems like you guys couldn't have picked a better one to do. Yeah. One of the coolest things, in my opinion, about my sort of Buddhist deep dive in Nepal was just the idle time that I got to spend. I was at this monastery all day and like, yeah, there's a little stuff to do, but like a lot of time you're kind of just chilling. And having that time gave me this sort of like open space in my brain that I'm not used to being able to have. Now, granted, if you don't have all that time, it can be harder to accomplish that. And that's why Headspace is such a cool app. Mm-hmm. You know, and back to the Buddhist thing, it's interesting because it's like, I was curious if I was going to like learn all these lessons and like get taught stuff, but like just by being there, it allowed me to kind of like check in with the things that I knew to be true about it. And like the meditation practice obviously is like a cool component, especially for the high level monks. And it just allows you to have like this control over your body. And they talk about these monks who are able to like levitate. Now, look, I don't know if that's actually possible. And I'm not sure what level of headspace you need to get to in order for that to be possible. But the beautiful thing about Headspace is that no matter how new or experienced you are, there is a program in there for you. I love some of the quick on-the-go meditations because like I was saying, in my New York life, I might not have time to kind of be idle and sit around and refresh and reset. But I find that by having a meditation practice, by using Headspace, like it improves every single aspect of my life. The quality of my rest, my energy, my ability to focus, my anxiety levels, depression, everything. It just makes me function so well. So anyway, highly recommend if you haven't used it. Feel good and mean it when you say it. For a limited time, get Headspace free for 60 days. Go to headspace.com/oopsthepodcast. That's HEADSPACE.com/oopsthepodcast to unlock all of Headspace free for 60 days. Headspace.com/oopsthepodcast.
My flight to Nashville, I was upgraded because I got a non-basic ticket, and I'm sitting in Comfort Plus.
Fuck yeah.
And I'm sitting in the middle seat between a married couple, and they were like from Long Island, soprano style like vibes, but like in the friendly way. And they're like, I'm sitting in the middle, and I was like, do you guys wanna? And they were like, he's like, nah. And he's like, you sit there. And I was like, what kind of scuffle did you guys get in for me to be the buffer? And we just, boom, we were talking the whole flight, dude. They offered me glasses of wine. They were like, do you want some wine, sweetheart? She's like, you want some wine, sweetheart? And I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good.
Great.
And she's like, what about crackers? Cheese crackers? You want the Mediterranean cheese box? I was like, I'm good. I forget their names now, but I said it confidently, and they said it back and forth. I told them I was getting married,
great.
and they're like, "Oh my God, show me a picture." And they're poking fun at each other, and that was a beautiful marriage. They were awesome. And he was bad at hearing, and he's doing the voice memo, text messages. It's just such a great time. I had such a great time. They were so nice.
That's great. What were they doing in Nashville?
They're visiting a friend from New Jersey that just moved out there. And they're like, we'll see you on Broadway. We're getting shots. I was like, I better see you guys there. And I was like, and then we're going to have sex.
They said we're going to have sex?
No, I was like thinking that.
Oh, you're like, you guys are going to have sex?
No, like we're all going to have sex.
Together.
That's how nice it was. Platonic sex.
Do you want to come stay with us?
Platonic sex.
Platonic sleeping in the bed where you're in the middle still.
Yeah, like Mormons.
No sex.
Like more, yeah. I was like,
Sleeping.
guys.
Cuddling.
Come on. It was awesome.
That's really cool.
It was just like buffer, and it was just like, it was like a bass drop of like platonic friendship right away.
It's very cute.
Right away.
It's very cute.
It was fantastic.
It's fun to have that stuff happen, dude. I went to Sugarfish with Big G the other day. It was great. And I can't recall ever really making like a connection with any of the waiters there. It's just like a pretty well-oiled machine. Like it's like hard to, but anyway, we're sitting at the bar, at the sushi bar. It's not like a bar where you like drink at. And Big G's chopping it up with all the employees. And it was like really working for him. Like the one waitress, he's like, are those he's like, you wearing bell bottoms? He's like, they're back. And she's like, well, these are more of like the 90s version. It's like more of like a flared. And he's like, oh, nice. He's like, yeah. She's like, how big were they like in your day? He's like, well, he's like describing the way that the bell bottom was sort of constructed and like they were having a good time. Then there's this other guy there and he and Big G are just chopping it up about baseball. And like the guy's kind of like saying shit that's like, he's like, the Mets have, and he's sort of like maybe not saying stuff that's like 100% factually true, but they're just both agreeing with each other because like men enjoying chopping it up. And
They're doing improv, Giulio.
Basically.
They're doing yes and.
Number one rule. They're doing yes and Lynch. And it was fun. It was like, oh, this is cool.
That's nice.
This is the thing that's happening.
That's
chopping
nice.
It up.
That's nice. Everyone in Nashville was so friendly. Literally not a scuffle amongst anybody.
Have you been there before?
Never before. And an update, a couple of my friends forgot to turn ghost mode on. And so they got messages from the greasy coconut oil guy. And they said, where are ya? He's like, where are ya? I'm on Broadway. Where are ya? And so my friends, they didn't respond.
Wow.
They didn't respond.
Wow.
And I'll show you
how. And you didn't see him?
Didn't see him. Wow. And I got to show you, my one friend had his location. And he was really, really close to us.
Damn, bro.
Here.
So does that mean he had their location?
The one in the hockey.
No?
He's the one in the hockey helmet.
Oh my God. So when you share location, you don't necessarily share it back, right? So
not necessarily.
They don't share with him, but he shares with them.
Yes.
That's crazy.
So my one friend, I guess.
And this is from back in the day, from college. It's still shared.
Yeah, from college. And no, he was the one we didn't want to see was swapping locations with one of the friends. I had them turn on ghost mode on Snapchat and mute him on Instagram stories. This person forgot to turn him off there, and two of my other friends that this guy reached out to forgot to do the Snapchat thing, and so they got text messages saying, "Where are you? Where are you?"
So he forgot that he had their locations.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was right there. I'm glad we didn't bump into him. It was kind of,
you deserve
we're not
that
mean to people, but
after
this
last
person's
time.
a bad person, and it was, if he didn't know, now he know.
Damn.
And I've said to him,
the whole group agrees.
Whole group agrees.
Nobody wants.
This isn't Ryan's really mean to Jasper. Like we don't really subscribe to what Ryan's saying. Like
Ryan's like really hard. He's still mad about that thing.
Like Ryan, grow up. No, it's like it's a genuine like, oh shit, yes. How do I do that? So that's how it was.
Well, dude, you deserve that after the last time where you had bad luck. Dude, I'll be honest. I went to a wedding one time of a person that I'm very close with. And this person theoretically comes from like sort of a fancy like upbringing. And there's a chance that this person maybe didn't like personally curate the table setting so much. And maybe like their parents might have, and the parents also should theoretically know, but are maybe kind of dense. I was seated in such a bad area that I'm like not over it. And it's been a couple years. And I'll occasionally think about it with scorn, being like, how could you put me there? Like, this is what you think of me. It was like a reminder that I wasn't like part of the club. It was really hurtful.
Like last man out.
Like, dude, sitting with all the random ass people, the farthest away from everything that's happening. The literal farthest away as I could have possibly been from all the important things happening, very close to the bride. And I could see it in the bride's world. Like I was saying before, I don't want to dox the situation. I don't want to like pour flames on it, but like I could see her not noticing because it's the wedding. Why should she be thinking about me? Whatever. Like I'm willing to, and I need that because otherwise it's like, how could you do that to me?
Yeah.
I was like deeply hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. That sucks.
It was honestly a tough weekend.
That sucks. Were you sitting with like aunts and uncles that
no
just are like
the aunts and uncles were closer. I was sitting with like random friends and like banished friends.
Yeah, we went to Robin's Nest together. You know, we used to play Duck Duck Goose. Yeah. I haven't talked to him in a while. Hey, do you got anything?
Random friends and scorned friends. Friends who are like that they like don't really like and like
that they've shit talked to you about
big time. And bro, me and these people say I love you to each other.
Oh, that sucks.
Really hurtful.
That sucks.
And like, can I help but think, maybe I need to reassess the importance of this relationship in my life.
Yeah. Because whether it
matters.
Whether it was intentional or it was neglectful, they kind of hurt the same.
Very important thing that you just tapped into. If you care about a person, you look out for them. And if you're in a situation where you can look out for them and you don't, you are being an aggressor.
Yeah.
And that is very relevant to me in a few different situations. But yeah. Would I have looked out for you more in the same situation? If the answer is yes, should I be looking out for you more? And is this, you don't get to like decide when to be good friends and then conveniently not be another time. You know what I mean? When you're a good friend, you're expected to be a good friend. And that's it. I'm understanding. I don't expect a lot.
Yeah.
I barely hang out with my friends. I have friends who like wish they were better friends with me who don't realize that I don't hang out with my other friends. They think that there's like a group of friends who I hang out with and they're not quite part of that. They're wrong. I don't do that. And that's, I should more. I convince myself that I don't have time, and I do, but I don't think that I do.
Yeah. I'll tell you, Giulio's a one-on-one guy.
I'm a one-on-one
I'd say
guy?
so. I'd say so.
Wait, what does that mean?
Each relationship, like you're not cliquey. Like
you're
a one-on-one guy.
Totally.
Like a present one-on-one guy.
I agree with that. Yeah, it's not a group or bust with me.
That sucks, dude.
Right?
That sucks.
But anyway, so hearing you say that, I think it's a good thing to do because you really can hurt people's feelings with wedding stuff. And I get that it's like, it's your day, you should be thinking about you, but I actually don't agree with that. I think it's very important to think as much as you can about everybody who's there and be intentional about it.
Yeah. And you're going to be sitting in a closet in a different room, but that's besides the point.
But we'll have a video set up for you.
Yeah, we'll have a live stream. Dude, that's hurtful. I could just visualize like everyone sitting in like a wedding chair and yours is like
I needed binoculars.
Yeah.
To see what was happening.
Oh shit! Oh, can you grab him a chair?
He doesn't
have an envelope. He doesn't have a seat
at
number.
the seated thing. Yeah. But dude, I'm psyched. I got all my arrangements my bags are packed. My arrangements are set, and I am excited, bro.
It's gonna be a blast. Have you been to an Armenian wedding? Mm-mm. There's gonna be before the band starts playing. There's going to be a circle dance, and you'll see all the Armenians go up there and.
Cool.
Everyone will join, and it's fun to see the non-Armenians join that circle.
Armenian churches are pretty cool. Like, it's definitely a ritual that interests me. It's funny, at my wedding, I didn't really want it to be religious. However, if I had done 2 different ceremonies, I would have been completely fine doing like a religious one if she had wanted to. But given that we just had one, I didn't want it to lean too heavily in any direction. Mm-hmm. So there was like 1 or 2 touches, but then from there I was like, I don't feel comfortable adding more because then it's just like, I have no identity.
Yeah.
Which I don't like. So
yeah.
I'd rather have it just be completely neutral or just a little sprinkle here and there.
Yeah.
Just things that are like aesthetic.
Yeah.
But that's cool that you get to do that.
Yeah, it is cool. It's very meaningful. So
and
they appreciate that. And then I guess the last thing I'll say is that we took something that you guys did at your wedding that we saw at no other wedding, and we're doing it at ours.
What is it?
The notes.
Oh, it's a good
the personal notes. I've never seen that anywhere else, and that was the biggest thing that we were talking about leaving yours. It was so thoughtful and nice and kind, and I'm working on generic things to say to people I don't, like distant aunts and uncles, but they're going to be kind.
Yeah, and you can also there's always something. You know what I mean? You can get it, and they'll be shocked if you're able to like procure something. So like ask your parents.
Yeah.
It's worth it. Because, that is a thing that everybody really liked about ours, and that was Hill Dog's idea. But it's a good one, yeah. So good, man. I'm glad. Happy to inspire.
Yeah, so looking forward to doing a couple more episodes next week before we head on up to Massachusetts. But, Giulio, tell them about what's going on in your world.
Yeah, come see us on the road June 12th. The Married Men and Danny going to Laugh Boston. Danny Palmer will be in the mix for that. We're trying to get him on the pod beforehand. He's a busy man with his day job, but we'll try to get him on here. And then the 20th and the 21st, I'm going to be in Nashville at Zany's in the Lab. Should be 2 really good shows. Pull up for those. Then in July, Duckworth's, the Comedy Club at Duckworth, 17th to the 19th of July. August, 2 shows in New York City, August 21st at the Stand. You can get all these tickets on my website, nowjulio.com. And I added St. Pete and Houston for the fall, trying to add some more stuff in Texas, et cetera, et cetera. So come see a show. Lynch.
Yes, thank you guys for going to Steamer Medikit last night. I heard that a couple of you guys were there, and I'm sorry that I couldn't be there. But I hope you guys had fun. I'll be with Giulio on the 12th. Check me out at Ryan is Really Polite. And if you've listened this far, tell us who would be the most offensive person to sit next to at a wedding. Like, which one would make you question everything? So,
Wait, I don't understand that. So, like, which type of person, or like, what do you mean which person? Like the actual person in their
which
life?
type? So, like you said, like the estranged friend, or we could do something different now that it's too
that's
nitty
okay.
gritty.
No,
I
I didn't get it.
How do I clarify?
I
How do we clarify that then?
don't even know. Maybe just comment a thing that would offend you at a wedding.
Yeah.
If the people throwing the wedding did something to you.
Mm-hmm. You know what? And then if you listen to this far, forget that. Comment your favorite body part. We'll see you guys next week.